Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's get started in a new ranked ticket here. Wait. I had a platinum ticket, and I thought it said it had like a week left. Did I read it wrong, and it had just like a day or two? Oh well, who cares? Yeah, I was gonna use it and like play, play like a base +5 only with the platinum ticket turning on extra units so that I might get some like 6s and 7s or something. Oh well. I feel like, well, so I actually overheard in the Discord some people talking about why fancy tickets expire. And it's not because they're trying to like make you play more, but, and I agree with them, like having worked on Crawl, people do this kind of stuff, that if they never expire, players will hoard them and they'll feel bad about hoarding them, but they'll do it anyway. Wow. This looks pretty red. Like we just go mono red with wild drones. And like try to rush Tarsiers probably. Not, well, Electivores and like, you could probably get 2 red, honestly. I'm not going to put in a conduit here. I just want to get my Animus out. I mean, like, I could do it now, I guess, right? Like this? Is that an idea? I think it's pretty tempting, actually. Yeah. I think my opponent must be regretting not going Wild Drone, because you could, if you had Wild Drone before, you could Wild Drone again now, which would be pretty convenient. I could choose to go like with some Electivores here, get in some more, get my attack in early, but that just sort of gives my opponent an excuse to build a Rhino or a Corpus or something and start defending. I'd rather go from 0 attack to 4 attack than like play 2 and then 2 more or something. And I want some Tarsiers eventually, I think. Maybe, can I possibly just go like double Vor and then next turn, what, 2 more Vors and 1 NG? That's not enough energy. So we need at least some Tarsiers. I don't think I can just go full Electivore crazy mode. But I think I can pick up 2 here. That sounds fine. Do I need an engineer? Not exactly. Yeah, we're gonna float the gold here and maybe squeeze in a little bit of something more next turn somehow. My opponent has to build like a Rhino next turn with 5 of his dollars, which leaves him only 6. What is he gonna do with that exactly? It's not very convenient for him. I guess he wants to attack my Wild Drone, which is cool for him, I guess. Ooh, he's gonna try and get in some blue. That's exciting. Can he do that? In order to kill my Wild Drone, he has to actually attack with the Rhino, right? Okay. When this happens, you lose a Rhino. He's in a tough spot for sure. What happens if I build this Corpus? That's actually pretty cool, I think. I can build 2 NGs to let myself keep attacking. I only need to build 1 because he's blocking onto the... He has to lose at least 1 Rhino. And so he's attacking for at most 3, which is killing 1 NG. And I think he might want to attack for even less than that, but there's no need to be greedy. Now the question is, do I build a drone? I don't have enough energy. Okay, so let's not do that since it's illegal. I might want the NG later, but I think it's better to just wait. Yeah, I think that he let me get off with too much aggression on my Electivore is my belief of what happened this game. But I don't know, I'm super low on drones, so maybe he's gonna... Maybe he's gonna get out of this okay. Punished for building the engineer because he gets to attack and kill the wild drone? That's a good point. I should have thought about maybe offering to let him kill the Engie. But I think that he would do it and be right. Right? I think it's pretty important for him to kill my my engineers. So I'm just going to do this. And I can put in another Electivore. I could also consider an ossified drone instead. Should let me help, you know, start defending a bit more cheaply. But I'm using all my red, so that seems like a pretty bad idea. I just have to, like, sort of weather the storm until his Rhino runs out of attacks, and then I can continue building more attackers. Should I build an engineer here? I don't think so. He can't do enough... Oh, I'm not absorbing this way, am I? This is the first time I've actually played Corpus in mono red, and you can't absorb on it the turn that you're building with it. That's interesting. It's great when you pair it with blue. But when you pair it with just red, it's a little bit awkward. You have to do something like this to actually get the absorb value. Here, this Rhino is giving me, like, +1 health. It's like the Rhino is giving me a husk as well as an attacker. Okay. But, like, how does he defend? Yeah, see, he's not actually attacking me. He threatens 3. I don't have to click the Corpus, so I can actually build some attackers now. I can't build 2 Electivores usefully. I guess I could and choose to use one to defend, but I think I could do that. I think it's a little early. What if I do this and just float the red, which I don't love? Well, maybe this is the time I can actually build a Tarsier? That seems outrageously greedy. But yeah, let's do that. The Rhino's about to become available as a defender is one reason I think I can get away with this Tarsier. It's also like he has a lot of trouble utilizing this Corpus effectively for defense. Yeah, so he has to lose either a Rhino or a Corpus that's not done being clicked yet. Meanwhile, what are we losing? 2 husks, and that's probably it. He probably can't attack for 1 more. But I mean, if he wanted to, he could absorb on, he could lose Corpus, attack with Rhino, kill both husks and either an NG or the Corpus, neither of which I'm thrilled about. But maybe I can just do this. Build another NG and a Rhino. Now he can't threaten to disrupt my Electivores. My Tarsier's coming in. Next turn I'll be able to pressure him more with the Rhino. And I'll have a permanent absorber left. That means I can comfortably click Corpuses. Yeah, I think this is lights out. Good old 7 drone red. What a game. Ooh. And I think I only actually... I guess that's true. I was player 2? I didn't build any drones this game, is that true? I just built the 1 wild drone and then went aggro? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't remember ever having a game where I just didn't build a single drone. But so far I haven't built one, and I don't anticipate building one this game. So that is... If there's not an achievement for that, then my humble opinion is there should be. We'll just... What are we doing here? Clicking the Corpus is not great value right now. What am I losing? Actually, it is good value. We're absorbing anyway on the Rhino. Oh no, I might have to build a drone. Let's build the ossified drone, actually. Instead of droning up, this is just sort of like the same as an engineer, except that it gives me the option to start spending my extra red on free defense, which soon I will not be able to keep building attackers, so that's great. There, and now I still haven't built a drone. There's no achievement for it, but in my heart there is. More corpuses. I don't think that's gonna work out. You just have to defend onto the old one. Like, it would be better to just click the first corpus, wouldn't it? It gives you as much health and costs less? No, it gives you less health because it gives you more permanent health, but you get less health this turn, which is sort of a problem for him. So can I click the ossified here? Of course I can. That's amazing. How do we keep the pressure on? We could build more rhinos, we could build a vor. What are we losing next turn? Husk and corpus in the worst case. So we still have enough to fuel this many vors. I might as well put an NG out for safety reasons. Next turn I have like rhino plus something if I need it. And the ossified drones will start providing free defense for me any minute now. But my opponent is just like, he's not adding attack, he's just losing more stuff every turn. Okay, so we can do this. Now we're losing, what, a rhino and an NG? That means I can build even one more of these guys if I want. I could build a drone. Let's... no, I could. I would lose the achievement, though. And it's not a real achievement, again. I'm just having fun. But, hang on. We're losing Rhino NG here if he attacks with everything. And since we built a vor, we'll need to replace an NG. Okay. We'll just do that. There we go. Good reason. I guess I still could build a drone, but I'm not going to. Oh yeah, we weren't losing Rhino NG, we were just losing Rhino. Well, maybe that's not the right thing to do right now. What do we lose now? Rhino... Okay. Ah, I didn't build any drones. No achievement, but there should be. 4 consecutive wins. Get 5 power fragments. Cool. So, I guess we'll look at the postmortem here. I'm not sure exactly what to make of it. I think the wild drone is pretty clear. It makes it more comfortable for me to get out an early Animus, which is what you want to do in a Red Rush mirror. Or anyway, a Red Rush set. If your opponent doesn't mirror, I think he just loses, so you assume it's a mirror. And also... Oh, I built a drone! I was player 1, I forgot. Alright, well, no achievement for me. Is that the wild drone's main weakness is that your opponent can attack it, of course. If they couldn't attack it, it would be a stupendous unit, far too strong. So its downside is that they can snipe it, which is a bigger deal in blue games than in red games. Because in blue games, they are denying you absorb. Let's say they have 3 attack and you have a wild drone and a wall, right? You'd rather that they attack and you can absorb on wall, losing just 1 engineer. But they can deny you that value by spending their 3 attack killing a wild drone. So that's why wild drones are... They're not bad in blue games, you usually want to get them anyway, but they have a big drawback in blue games. In red games, like, sure, your opponent can still do that, but they're denying you less absorb, and also red really, really benefits from not being under breach pressure, right? When the opponent kills your wild drone, there's sort of, although not really, upgrading that wild drone to a wall for you after it gave you some money, which is like insane, right? It costs the same as wall, it has the same health as wall, but it gives you money for several turns. Now, this is not really a fair comparison because wall is absorbing and your opponent has to attack it. But when your opponent chooses to attack it, that part doesn't count. It's just that like you don't get to absorb on wild drone the same way you absorb on wall. Otherwise, it's like as good as wall and gives you money, so great. So in red games, wild drone is, I think, usually stronger than in blue games. So and it of course timed out conveniently with my animus. And as I said, I think my opponent should have gotten at least a wild drone or two. I haven't worked out exactly like what should his build be. He's player 2, right? So you build wild drone right away. Next turn you have $11 instead of 10, and with $11, you could build Animus Wild Drone, right? So he would have one more income and still have the same amount of tech. But the downside, of course, is his wild drones are more snipeable. But as I said, that's not such a big deal in red. You don't really mind that badly when your opponent kills your wild drones. And so I'm still not sure about this decision to go Tarsiers and then Electivores. I think it was right, but, you know, red mirrors are such high-pressure games that every point of attack matters a lot. And you do forfeit 1 point of attack by building a Tarsier instead of an Electivore. You attack a turn later. So you could argue, maybe, that I should have built more the Electivores earlier. But, like, he would be absorbing it on a Rhino, so some of that attack would, like, not count. And it would make it harder for me to fuel. Like, let's say I built the 2 Electivores earlier. Now this turn, I can only build 1 more Electivore and an Engie if I want them all to attack. Less than that, really, because his Rhino will be threatening to attack, so I'll have to do something else. I won't be able to get 4 attackers if the first 2 are Electivores, right? Electivores cost 4 in a red, but since you have to build an Engineer, in a way, they cost 6 in a red, which is, like, not that efficient. It's a little better than Steel Splitter. The difference is the first 2 Electivores are insanely good, because you already have the Engies lying around, right? And you want to get those at a time when they matter. We're going to get the value for building 2 Electivores regardless, and we can't get it for more than 2, so we might as well put it off until they're doing something. Anyway, he built the 2 Rhinos, which is like, I don't know, at this point he feels to me like he's already way behind, because he has to lose a Rhino just to defend. I get a chance to get my Corpus out. It's all very comfortable. And, okay, he has these 2 Tarsiers now coming in, and he can attack and kill my Wild Drone. That sucks. But, again, it, like, gives me more... It means he wasn't... Like, what could he have killed instead? He could have killed Engineer Husk, making it more difficult for me to develop more Electivores. Now, I'd have a Wild Drone, you know, which is great. So I think he was correct to attack my Wild Drone, but it's like... It's a trade-off. The other stuff he was doing was also quite valuable. That he could do is also quite valuable. And here's where I discovered that the Husk isn't absorbing. A side effect I never thought about when playing, as I said, Husk in red-blue games. Not Husk, Corpus. But that's fine, I can build a Rhino. And he's already having to defend with drones. He's ahead by a lot in economy, right? He's up by 4 drones. But he's got 2 attack, and I've got 4 or 5, depending on how you count it. I think you should give me 5, because they're actually all going to keep attacking. I mean, you could give him 3, I guess, but his Rhino can't really attack because it needs to absorb. He builds another drone here, which actually I think is the biggest mistake so far. Not because it's the most impactful, but because it's the most obviously wrong. On the turn that you're defending with a drone is when you should be like, probably I'm gonna need engineers to continue defending, right? A drone that you build and then never harvest before you use it as a defender is an engineer that costs you an extra $1. And in a red mirror, you can't afford to throw away dollars. I mean, I don't know. I guess he ended up not harvesting it here. He ended up harvesting it, so maybe I'm wrong? But I think that was at the expense of doing a lot of stuff he really needed to do. All right, he clicked... What did he spend his red on? He didn't attack with his Rhino. He built a Tarsier, and he clicked Corpus. So he's not threatening any more attack. I just lose a Husk, and I can keep building attackers. Which is exactly the kind of break that I need when I have 7 drones. Anyway, so I don't know. At this point, I think the game is basically over. I just have to play a little bit carefully, and all of his choices are going to be wrong. Here, I think the game... I don't know. Was Ossified Drone the right choice? Unclear. I think it's probably pretty cool, actually. Like, it's one of my favorite units, so I find an excuse to build it, and it's a mono red set, but this might be the first time I've built Ossified Drone when my only tech building is a single Animus. Usually that red is really valuable and you gotta spend it on something, but here I have so few drones, it's like, you know, I can't build enough attackers. I can't spend my red, my 2 red. I don't have enough gold. An Ossified Drone is a red sync that's doing really useful stuff for me, making my drones sturdier. I think it was a worthwhile investment of 2 gold. Did I ever end up actually losing a Doomed drone or an Ossified drone? I didn't. But it provided me with more safety buffer to allow me to build up more attackers and stuff. Anyway, so I don't know. We went over that game a little bit longer than it really deserved since it was decided quite early. But fine. It's interesting in a red mirror. Even small mistakes are worth looking at. Which reminds me, I didn't actually really analyze my own play too much to see if I made any big mistakes. I was focused more on like what I was hoping to do and how well it worked and what my opponent did wrong. Oh well. Here we have a match against Wonderboat. Base +9? Oh my god. Alright, so Windsor is fascinating. Plexocell helps defend against it, though, and oh, it's not Centurion, it's Colossus. I always get them mixed up. Colossus is still a reasonable incentive to go high econ, but I don't understand how to play with Windsor at all. Is it good to, like, I think it's good to be player 2, supposedly, in Windsor sets? This seems like a pretty aggressive game. Colossus is... it always feels like it should be prompt, right? But it's not. That's the trick, is you have to block on it once for 7 to get value out of it. And then, you know... Normally, a unit with a bunch of health rewards you for absorbing on it by giving you attack. This one gives you block. Sorry, other way around. I can't talk about that right now. I'm busy playing Prismata. So what I'd like to do here is build a Blast Forge, because Borehole Patroller plus Lance-Tooth seems great. This is a way to do 2 attack cheaply, to produce 2 attack cheaply so that you can Lance-Tooth, right? And Lance-Tooth rewards the early aggression. How exactly do you get 2 more to attack the next turn? I guess you just build... You need a little more tech, huh? So what are we doing next turn? We're building a borehole. And we have $7 left. We could drone some more. Or we could build a blast forge. Or a conduit. I don't think you want that much green. The other thing is, I forgot, we might just want to go Windsor, right? I think blast forge is reasonable in either case. Is my opponent going to try to, like, rush me down so that I can't build the Windsor? I don't know. Okay, so the Immolite is a good compromise by him. It threatens to attack me for 1, which makes me not want to build a wall. I'm kind of thinking I do this, so that next turn I can build like a Lance Tooth and a Borehole. Yeah, I could afford that. 12 bucks? I can even drone up a bit? No, I don't have the money. I'll have $3 to spare next turn, but I don't have it to spare this turn, so I can't do it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and try to get some Lance Tooth value against him. I assume he's building a wall here. But maybe he doesn't. Yeah, there's the wall. I guess it's also a bit awkward for me, oops, to build a borehole here, right? Because I want one more attack, but I also want a wall. So that I don't have to lose the engineer. But I think that actually leaving the borehole out as my attacker is a good play, because it leaves him in the awkward spot of... Is it worth spending his 2 attack to get a borehole when that 2 attack was killing an engineer? I'm not sure. I'll try to get a drone here. So now I'm threatening to build another Lance Tooth next turn, along with finally a wall, or something like that. Or maybe threaten to get an Animus or something towards Windsor. I don't know. Okay, he's going to save his Immolite. Fine. That means my borehole is getting, like, amazing value. Sort of. No, he's attacking with it. Alright, fine. So he threatens 4 next turn. But I can build another Lance Tooth. And a wall. And, like, a force field? Something like this? I guess he can exploit this by just not using the Pixie, but using the Immolite. So it's better to do this, I think. No, because then if he attacks for 4, I lose a borehole. I guess that's not the end of the world. Yeah, if he wants to spend a Pixie and an Immolite to kill my borehole, I guess I don't mind that much. It's done its job. I get to keep the drone. I'd rather keep the borehole, of course, but this way he has to spend a Pixie on making me lose the unit. And he's having to hold back a drone, and he doesn't have access to green. Hopefully this means things are going my way. He actually shouldn't hold back. Well, I think it would be a reasonable choice to offer me a gambit by clicking the drone. Yeah. Because if I want, I can lose drone wall and breach him. And I don't know which one of us is more worried about that. I think it's got to be him, though, right? Like, I think I accept your gambit. He's got a bunch of red back there that he doesn't want to have breached. I can just wall. And, probably NG is better, right? Or don't wall. Don't be so crazy. He's attacking for 4, at least 4. I can Plexo here. Oops, that's not Plexo. And build, like... another patroller and a preemptive wall. Now, if he chooses to hold the Immolite and the Pixie, my Plexo is getting a little bit less value than it could. But he fears the pressure a lot more than I do because he doesn't have green. Hang on. Shouldn't it just be Force Field? 6-10... No, because then if he attacks with everything, I have to lose an attacker. We'll do this. And with no access to green and only 1 blue, How does he actually defend all of this attack? He offered me the Gambit, which I think was a cool idea. I thought of it and said, is that a good idea? It might be. But I think it's actually not. He's just much more scared than I am of losing defenses. I have all the defensive tech and he doesn't have any. Or not much anyway, just the one Blast Forge. Kickstarter supporter. Hey, another... I've never seen this guy, even though I was a Kickstarter supporter as well. And we've both been around for a long time, apparently. Oh, I could emote him. The rude, bad manners. Is there one here about Gambit? Breach? Defend? Oh, I should have used that one, right? I will now nullify your defenses. I don't know. I don't get emotes. Yeah. This is pretty awkward for him. I'd like another conduit at some point. But let's see, so can I just do something like this? Yeah, that loses 2 walls and an NG. Build an engineer to replace it. I can do this every turn forever, but you're losing a bunch of stuff, so good luck. I actually probably shouldn't have... it's fine. I should have thought about the fact that I was killing some attackers, and maybe I could have defended for a bit less and attacked for a bit more. But he's, like, dead anyway, even though he gets to exploit me a bit. Like, this engineer maybe should have been a force field or something, so that I have granularity. So he's actually able to attack for 7 if he wants, but wall defends, and we'll just throw in a bit more breach pressure, and he'll be pretty sad about that. I don't think it's... I mean, he can hold back all of his drones, but short of doing that, I don't know that he can actually defend a breach at all this turn. Okay, I'm wrong. He can just build a bunch of units. Who knew? Yes, I do need to click the Pixie. He's attacking for at most 8 next turn, which is just wall. And... NG... Hold back drone in case he attacks for 7? Sure. Okay, nice. We're on a 5-game win streak. That's not bad. Let's look at the replay here. I think pretty early the game was decided, but I'm not sure exactly when that happened. I never ended up going for Winter, which I think is fair. There's just so much aggression in this game that being able to defend Windsor with all of its high-tech investment and stay alive for 3 turns and still have enough drones is a pretty tall order. Even if you can do it, you probably won't kill all of your opponent's drones, and you'll kill most of yours, I suspect. But I don't know. I'm definitely not experienced with the Windsor, and it always scares me when I see it here. Because I just know that I won't play the game accurately. But maybe, hopefully, in this set, it was right to ignore it. My opponent went for early Animus. But I don't really see the justification for this. Like, what red is there in this set that you want? Not much. I mean, of course, Immolites are fine. But green seems really good here. You might even consider cutting a drone to get out some green on turn 2 or something. I'm not sure. If you're going to go something like on turn 3, I think it should be blue. Because you want a wall at least. You want a Pixie. There's Lance Tooth to like make your early attack more useful. I just don't see what red is doing. You build a couple Tarsiers, your opponent builds a wall. What now? Like, that's... He built Tarsier Immolite to threaten... You know, okay. That's an argument for red, right? He threatens to kill an engineer, but I don't actually mind that. I just say, fine, take an engineer, but I'm going to build 2 attack and another Blast Forge so that I can get Lance Tooth and still build the wall I wanted. And I can build Lance Tooths. But once again, he's in a position where Lance Tooth doesn't look that great for him, because his attack is actually killing my engineer. Right, I haven't built a wall yet, so he doesn't get much value out of building Lance Tooth. I'm like, how are we on drones? We're about equal, 12 and 14. Okay, so I'm up on drones. How did that happen? Did I never cut any drones? I guess I didn't. I thought maybe I had. I guess it's just... On turn 3, we both droned. On turn 4, we both stopped. How did I end up getting in 1 additional drone here? Just on this turn when I was building the Lance Tooth, I was spending all my tech. And so, spend some more money on a drone? Sure. Okay. And the other nice reason to go blue first is that Pixie is a blue sync. If you ever find yourself in a spot where you have too much tech, not enough money, you can just build a Pixie. And it's not great, but it's better than nothing. Like, you're still sort of happy you have the Blast Forge, at least. Especially with, like, Lance Tooths. That's probably a little... I was thinking, like, okay, sure, Pixie can help you get to a multiple of 2 so you can Lance Tooth, but only the first multiple of 2 counts, and you don't want to be building Pixie that early. He did here. What is that about, actually? Why the Pixie? What position is he in here? He's got 1 or 2 attack. I guess the position he's in is that he wants to click his Tarsiers. He wants to build Tarsiers. And having done that, he only has $4 left. What's he going to spend his blue on? Pixie. Okay, well, that's kind of not great for him. Holding drone. I think this is an interesting turn. Has he? Oh, okay, first question is, has he lost yet? Right, I said that fairly early on. I think the game is decided, but I wasn't sure when. Is it now? I think so. I think my Lance Tooths are going to unleash a lot of attack on him that he's not prepared to deal with. And I have the right tech to defend. And we're quickly approaching the stage of the game where we want to start defending rather than attacking. But he doesn't have the right tech to do it. He can just build 1 wall and like some Tarsiers. Whereas I can build 2 walls if I want. I can build Plexos. I can build force fields. So I think it is lost by this point. Was it lost earlier than that? It's hard for me to say. I feel good. My Lance Tooths are getting great value, and my boreholes are providing me with some breach safety. But I don't feel like I've won. Whereas when it gets to here, I think I have won. Something in between there has gone wrong. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just now... It's more obvious what had already gone wrong. I held this drone back because I anticipated him wanting to attack for 3. Right, click the Immolite, but not the Pixie. And in addition to the 2 damage from the Tarsiers. And I don't want to have to lose a borehole if he does that. I want to be attacking for 5. When he attacked for 4, my plan had been, you know what, let's just lose a patroller onto the Pixie. He's onto the wall, I mean. He's used up a bunch of resources to do this, and that's fine. I'm just going to lose one of these, and I get to keep the drone, so I didn't have to force field him, right? But as we were both looking at this state of the board, we both realized, like, wait a minute. What if you hold the drone? What if you actually harvest the drone? In order to actually breach you, I have to give up 2 health by not absorbing on the wall. He's thinking, I will want above all else to absorb on the wall, therefore attacking for 4 means I'll lose a patroller here. But likewise, you know, sure, I give up 2 health on the wall, or 3, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But I get the same value against him as well, because he doesn't get to absorb on wall either. And I think that this is, as I explained in the game, just not a good trade for him. He needs his wall more than I do, because I can build a ton of walls, and he can't. And I can build plexos to defend, and he can't. And if he ever gets breached once, he loses, and I don't. So all of this argues for him, I think, needing to hold back the drone. But I admire him for taking the chance to try to squeeze out that $1 extra worth of value, which, who knows, maybe it could have somehow won him the game. He was in a losing spot, he needed to find an advantage, and I think that was a good try. But it's pretty easy for me to defend, and interesting. Oh yes, right. I could have built 2 walls. Why did I not build 2 walls? That was my first thought, right? Build 2 walls. Because then I absorb wall NG. I didn't do that because then, if he doesn't click the pixie, well, he still just attacks for 5. That kills a wall. I was worried that he was going to attack for 4. Hold the Immolite and the pixie. But you know what? If he wants to do that, I don't mind being exploited. I think it's pretty important for him to attack with the Immolite. And oh no, it was because I wanted to build more attack. It wasn't so much that I was worried about being exploited, it was that I realized, wait a minute, if I plexo here, I can build another attacker. And yes, I opened myself up to the possibility of being exploited. He won't click his Immolite or his pixie. But I get out another attacker. And he's just in a heap of trouble now. Yeah, like this is... None of this mattered anymore. He was unable to defend and never really stood a chance at it. Okay, cool. Fun game. We are now at 2 games out of 3 in this ticket, and 5 wins in a row, and also like a super long video. Well, long-ish. I wish we had had the... I wish there was something like telling you, hey, your ticket's gonna run out soon. Like a pop-up warning you. Like when I just moused over, it looked like it had a week, and I guess I misunderstood somehow. Anyway, that's fine. We'll get another one of those somehow. And I'm glad that the run is going well, and I don't care that much about the skins. So there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.